This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch. Hello, my name is Harrington Buatco. Welcome to our program. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the main issues in the last week that have come out is the concept of surveys, the integrity of it and what exactly it does. It seems so far that they who dictate who the presidentiables are, the vice presidentiables, etc., seem to be the survey groups. But what exactly is the integrity of these survey groups? There's what you call the weighted issues, the statistical issues, and whatnot. They say they do 1,200, 1,400 samples. Where do they take them? How do you distribute that? How do you do it by age? How do you do it per region, if even by region it should be done? Because there are many issues that come into play. For example, the number of voters that are identified in specific regions. That should be a weighted issue versus just equally dividing it. So what you get is a distorted picture of who and what not. Now, while surveys are there, normally they are used by consumer groups to identify products and services that are sold to the market. And in most times, these surveys, the results of which are kept confidential because this is what we call part of strategic management. I guess in politics, it's strategic politics nowadays. But don't be misled, it's the way it happens. Now, there are other issues. There are what we celebrate, anniversaries, birthdays, events, and whatnot. Why do we celebrate them and why do we put center stage? Is it to remind people, to bring back the issues? Well, yes and no. The purpose being that there is a need to remember those people, those events, the things that have come out, to remind us of the good things or the hard things we need to remember to guide us by. One of those issues we will celebrate and talk about in our topic tonight. Basically, it's VACC, which stands for Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption. Of course, our guest, you've seen him here before. He was a host in GNN for many years. His name is Dante Jimenez. He's the founding chair of VACC, which you read about, you see about, you hear about all over the place. Now, they're not standing for a political purpose or a political objective. They have specific issues that they promote. Their advocacy is personal, it's united, and it's for Bicol, if I'm not mistaken. But don't let me go past myself. I'm going to bring in Dante Jimenez right here. Thank you very much for being on the show, Dante.
Thank you very much, Harry, my favorite
there you
interviewer.
Go.
Yeah.
It's called the Mutual Admiration Club. Dante, you've got an event. I know this is an annual event, and you take time every year to celebrate certain people. Why? This is on Friday, correct? July 3.
Well, first of all, yes, July 3 will be the 17th founding
Biro mo,
anniversary.
17 years na kayo.
70 years, 1998 to be exact, of Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption, founded by, of course, victims of crime and victims of corruption. And of course, we will be celebrating it with awards to distinguished implementers of the criminal justice system.
Mga tumulong sa advocacy.
Yes, from the law enforcers to the prosecution to the justices, and of course the community pillar, and of course the penology. So these are the 5 pillars of the so-called criminal justice system. But let me say that this event now will be very significantly important and significant, considering that next year will be election period.
Correct.
And now our theme for this year is cut up katapangan,
Katapangan.
at katapatan,
At
para
katapatan.
sa katarungan. So,
Delikado, KKK, baka kabarilan, kaibigan. Kay Noy naman yan. Sige, sige.
ito naman, katapangan
Katapang. Tama nga naman eh.
at katapatan.
Katapatan.
Yes.
Ayan. Nakaharap-harapan. Oo.
Para sa katarungan.
Katarungan.
Okay.
Justice.
This theme was chosen by the Board of Trustees of VACC, and of course, part of that it will be the speech of our guest of honor and speaker, who will be giving us inspiration, giving us the I would say message, what to do next. We need as victims, ano ba mga gagawin sa mga problema namin? Fighting crime and corruption.
So, guide. A guide.
A guide, a sort of a walking order or a suggestion on how to cope up with the tremendous pressures of following up cases in courts.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
it's a frustrating exercise.
Very frustrating. In fact, alam mo, Harry, I've come to the point that is there really such a thing as hope? Hope for the victims, especially the growing number of victims now has tripled. And these years, the past years, have been tremendously disappointing for us. Because, you know what? Why disappointing? This is the first year that we have only about 4 to 5 promulgated cases for 1 year. Unlike before, we have 10, 15, now 4 to 5.
So, success stories talaga nagbawas.
You could just imagine how slow the justice system is. That's why, you start first, of course, before judgment. You start with investigation, prosecution. It takes time. And the frustration there by our member victims is really, sometimes they
lose interest.
They lose interest. Ang
sa
gagawin
tagal.
na lang nila, gaganti na lang sila. Magiging, they will just take the law in their hands. Do we want that? What we're saying is there is hope. But I hope there will be hope in the next administration.
So, when you get these people, when you celebrate these personalities, it is, let me make it clear, this is not for purposes of generating popularity or guiding voters towards who to vote, not to vote, and whatnot, but identifying who promotes your advocacy and what they stand for. Not a popularity contest. Let me get, because inudyo ko na po kayo noon, VACC. Pag pumasok kayo as, for example, a party list group, tingin ko overnight makakakuha kayo ng mga congressional seats. Pero ayaw mo political. And yet you celebrate some political figures.
Well, first of all, let me be very clear. VACC remains to be apolitical. But its members can go and support any politician for that matter.
Hindi
That's
kayo
their right.
sarado. Oh, that's the right.
Karapatan po ng mga members yan. We
Okay.
don't close the door, but the VACC remains apolitical. Now, with regards to our celebration, we always acknowledge the accomplishments of these implementers of our justice system. That's the main menu. But
Kasi ito mga tumutulong talaga no?
the second menu is the message of a speaker.
Okay.
And maybe how he could help the victims come up with solutions to the problems that we're facing. What is that? Slow justice.
Slow justice. And to think that Justice Sereno, si CJ Sereno, is trying very hard to limit the age of cases. She's addressing the courts now na hindi pwedeng patagalin nyo yan sa mga prosecutor all the way up to the MTC, RTC. She's doing her best, and yet the system still fails us. Is it the people that fail us in the judiciary, or is it the system?
It's
Or a
both.
combination of both?
A
Combination.
All of the above.
All of the above.
In fact, alam mo, Supreme Court is one of our major awardee. On
Babaliktad talaga major awardee niya.
Yeah, anti-corruption issue on the DAP and PDAP, right?
You're right.
They made a very...
Tumayo.
Yeah, they made a very remarkable and a mark in history with regards to making all, this PDAP unconstitutional, and then
Finally.
a major portion of the DAP really has to be stopped. But of
Which
course,
it did, but it allowed Abad and the DBM to get away, and Noynoy's group to get away with the 141 undeclared or unaccounted for, di ba? But yes, at least pinagbawalan.
yes. And
Tumigil.
At the same time, nabawasan.
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 Actually, eliminated.
And-
Bawal eh.
Yeah.
Bawal na.
And so, we the citizens, really must now be the one to be very vigilant on this. The Supreme Court has already interpreted the law. That's their job. That's their role.
It's
That's
the
why-
lower courts, eh, no? Yeah,
That's right.
ang headache.
So the anti-corruption major award goes to the Supreme Court. So we salute the Supreme Court on that. But of course, there's still much things to be done by the Supreme Court, like the dispensation of justice, as I said.
Matagal eh.
The slowness of the giving justice to the victims. You see, the average years of resolving cases, alam mo, in various courts, is almost 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say 5 minimum, baka 7 pa, no?
But
Yeah,
yeah, but-
average,
Yeah, because
ano
in the
yan,
case of my brother, it took 7 years in 1990. Ngayon, I thought it's going to be faster. Eh, yung pala wala rin pagbabago.
Ganun
The
pa rin.
same thing.
Tumagal pa nga eh.
Tumagal pa. Why? Because our laws, as I said, it's a combination of people running the system and the system itself.
The system.
The
itself.
system has really to be drastically changed. And that's why we are always urging our lawmakers, okay, our Supreme Court who could come up with guidelines, new rules in minimizing delay in the court hearings. This is the problem of us victims or court watchers. Our strongest our strongest arena in crime fighting is really the court watch. Why court watch? Because it's the most difficult part in the
Yun ang pinakamatagal eh.
process of the justice system. Why? You have to sit down in the court, hear all those pros and cons. The accused, plus of course the prosecution.
Correct. Correct.
Okay?
Correct.
So that's and sabi nga namin, kakalyuhin yung puwet mo dyan eh.
Oo, correct.
That's why we help the victim's family go through this process. And then we have so many called volunteers in each courts in this country. So that's why they alternate.
Sa dami. We're gonna have to take a short break, Dante. Ladies and gentlemen, to understand, we're not just complaining about the court systems. You see, pag wala kayong kaso sa mga korte, no big deal yan eh. Pero ang problema, the only way to do things properly, as said in our democracy, is giving whoever, whatever, due justice or their day in court. Ang problema when this is exasperatingly extended into 5 years, as Mr. Jimenez has said, and even 7. And for some cases, even in the Supreme Court, may mga 30, 40-year cases yan. I guess the problem with time and delays, it opens up opportunity for graft. Now, we're not saying, we're not condemning anyone in court, but whatever the solution be, the resolution be, it has to be minimized and brought down to a shorter period of time. Stay with us and we'll go into the other awardees of the VACC 17th year, which is to be slated and celebrated this Friday at Camp Aguinaldo, correct?
Yeah.
So stay with us.